In some ways, getting older can be depressing. And one of the most depressing things you might experience is having the realization that you've peaked. You see, when you're young, you're still figuring out what to do with your life. There's a seemingly infinite amount of novelty, making each day much more interesting. You have this feeling that your wildest dreams can come true, that you can do anything. But as the need to take care of yourself and pay bills and follow a routine increases, the years pass by and you slowly get locked into the habits of life, and those once big dreams begin to drift further and further out of reach. You start to wonder if maybe those dreams were simply just that. Soon, each day becomes awfully similar to the last. You're bored and you've all but given up on accomplishing anything. Your life has been reduced to one ongoing redundancy loop. You do the same things day after day, week after week, becoming complacent to your overall well-being. Then, what happens next is the worst part of it all. The scariest part about living in this redundancy loop is it begins to erode the way you think. As you get older, you will begin to formulate an inner narrative based on previous life experiences. When you're overwhelmed with the feeling that you haven't accomplished anything with your life, this dialogue in your head starts to re-examine previous life failures and then string them together, telling you a story about yourself. I'm a failure. I haven't accomplished anything with my life. Now, if you believe this story long enough, it will shape who you are as a person, turning you into a bitter, grumpy old curmudgeon. You'll begin to hate yourself, and then you assume that other people see you in that same light, so you project that hate onto other people. Now look, I don't want you to end up like this, and I definitely don't want to end up like this, so let's discuss what we can do about it. First of all, maybe this is all just one big lie. You see, there's billions of people on this planet, and not all of them are going to end up doing some crazy ambitious things with their life. In fact, there is a very high probability that you and I and most people are going to live perfectly ordinary lives. And look, that's okay. Maybe the hopes of accomplishing some big dream of yours is just one big lie that you've been telling yourself. And what this does is just enhance the feeling of failure that you experience, and then this negatively impacts the way you view yourself. You see, the deeper issue found in all of this is the fact that you're letting what you've accomplished in life or have not accomplished dictate your happiness as well as self-worth. So what you should really do here is let go of the idea that you're going to accomplish some crazy thing. Now, I do get that there's another side to this, and it's very natural for us to want to be able to accomplish things and just feel good about our life. And maybe you have been believing that bad story about yourself. Well, if that happens to be you, let's dive a little bit deeper. One of the main drivers of this bad story that you believe about yourself is the simple act of comparing yourself to other people. You see, when you compare yourself to another person, especially in a negative way, what you're really doing is lying to yourself that that person is living a better life than you are. You're looking at all the stuff that you're assuming that they've accomplished, and you're sitting letting that compound on the fact that you feel like a failure. And then it totally zaps your motivation from maybe going out and actually trying to do something. Now, the tricky thing is we do a lot of this negative comparison simply by being on social media. And I get the irony here of you watching this video on social media. The thing is, a lot of this negative comparison happens whether you want it to or not. It's almost like this subconscious thing. You're scrolling, and of course the algorithms are showing you the best content, the people traveling to the coolest places, doing the craziest, most epic things, and you're sitting there on the toilet depressed. So one of the best things you can do is take some time away from your phone, away from social media. Log off and get out in the real world. Your life will inevitably get crazy busy, and for some reason, the first thing to go all the way down on the priority list is taking care of your physical body. Why? Why do we do this? Now look, as simple as this is, physical exercise, quality sleep, as well as a well-balanced diet based on macro and micronutrients is just something you have to prioritize. And this becomes all the more important as you age. Speaking from someone who's been doing this for 4+ years now, consistency with these things is the foundation to feeling motivated every day. And I'm not saying that by doing these things every single day is just gonna be amazing. You're still gonna have some bad days, but being able to fall back on some of these good habits and routines will make a huge difference. And with that in mind, I'd love to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, which happens to be LMNT. Now, I've personally been replenishing my electrolytes with LMNT daily for years now. And if you didn't know, LMNT is an electrolyte drink mix that actually tastes freaking delicious, and there's no sugar in it. What's also amazing about Element is they have a science-backed ratio of electrolytes in every single packet, and that ratio is 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, as well as 60 milligrams of magnesium. Electrolytes facilitate hundreds of functions within the human body, including the conduction of nerve impulses, hormonal regulation, nutrient absorption, as well as fluid balance. I would highly recommend Element. It's a fantastic product. So if you go to the link right in the description of this video, you can check out Element today. Right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serving packets free with any Element order. This is a great way to try 8 of their flavors or share Element with a salty friend. Get yours at drinkelement.com/BryanAdamC. This deal is only available through my link, so you must go to drinklmnt.com/BryanAdamC. As you find yourself in this redundancy loop, human tendency will simply resort to finding new means of entertainment, most of this looking like some form of escapism to break up the monotony of life. Now, there can be good forms of escapism, some that are okay, and then definitely some bad ones. So things like reading, getting out in nature, finding new hobbies, and even travel and exercise are great forms of escapism. When we talk about this idea of escapism, what you're really trying to do is get a new perspective. You're seeing the same thing in life far too frequently, so you need something that will help you get off that hamster wheel. And these types of things can really help do that, which will only enrich your life. But the other benefit is that they can also give you invaluable perspective on life, which ultimately will give you much more gratitude for the life that you have. And if you have gratitude in your life, it typically means you're a happy person. Now, there are some forms of escapism that I would say fall into more of a gray area. Things like playing video games or binging Netflix or watching a bunch of movies have some positive benefits, but if you do too much of it and you just literally veg out day after day, it can definitely have a detrimental effect on your overall mental health. But me personally, I do love a good movie, and a lot of good shows or movies that have amazing stories can definitely give you that perspective or reignite some creativity. Now let's talk about those bad forms of escapism, and really they boil down to substances, things like alcohol and drugs. Now obviously some of these things in moderation can be fine, but if you find yourself getting into a really bad habit where you're over consuming these things, these forms of escapism can be very harmful to not only your mental health, but as well as your physical health. Now let's quick zoom out from all of this for a second, because it's important to understand that if you're trying to escape from anything within your life, you should also think about why you're trying to run from that. Now maybe it is just to break up the monotony of life, but maybe you're running away from past trauma or past hurt or something deep down that you don't actually want to deal with. And this is very important, that you take a step back, examine your habits, and question your motives as to why. Now, if you are dealing with something, I would highly recommend finding someone that you can trust, that you can talk to about these things, or seek out a therapist that could walk you through some of these personal issues. Well, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you got something out of it, and I definitely hope you're inspired. I had a ton of fun making this one, as well as writing and producing the music to the intro, and I really do appreciate your ongoing support. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one, friends. Peace.